How's it going today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day so far. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about how to make some extra money while you are in college as a college student. Now, before I get into these 5 different ideas I have for you guys, I just want to preface this by saying I'm not going to be telling you to go out there and get a job working at the library or working at your college store, because literally anybody can go out there and just get a job. I have more of an entrepreneurial mindset, and so what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is 5 ideas as far as thinking outside the box, and hopefully, since less people are doing these things, you'll be able to make more money in the process. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 money-making ideas for college students. Idea number 1 is to flip college textbooks. A lot of people don't really think about this idea here, but college textbooks are extremely expensive. What you will find with textbooks is that the difference between what people buy them for and what they're willing to sell them for is a massive difference. And if you can buy textbooks in cash from people and take advantage of people not wanting to list them online or get the actual fair price for this textbook, you can make a really good amount of money by buying textbooks for a low price and selling them for a much higher price online. So let me go ahead and give you guys a real-world example of this using one of my textbooks I had to purchase. Del Mar's Standard Textbook of Electricity was one of the textbooks I had to buy in college, and I bought it from the college bookstore like a moron, and I paid $120 for this book. Now, after I was done with this class, I did not need that textbook anymore, and my college bookstore was gracious enough to offer to buy that book back from me. And when I went in there, I offered them the textbook and they said they would give me $35. And this book was in like completely new condition. I had barely used the thing. We used it maybe 5 or 6 times. So it went from being valued at $120 down to $35. That's 70% less than I had originally paid for that textbook over the course of 3 months. Now, what is interesting is if you look on eBay, you'll find that textbook sells for anywhere from $85 to $100 versus that $35 the bookstore is going to offer you. So if you're looking to make money by flipping textbooks, what you want to do is purchase textbooks from people for slightly above what the bookstore is going to buy them back for. So even if you were able to buy that Del Mar Standard Textbook of Electricity for $50, you could still comfortably sell that for $85 on eBay and make that $35 profit, obviously subtracting any seller fees on eBay. And if you sell on Craigslist, you don't have to worry about those merchant fees. Now, how are you going to advertise your service? I would make flyers. I would go around campus leaving a flyer that has your number that simply says cash paid for textbooks. Text me with the name of your book and I'll let you know what I'll pay for it. And then as people are texting you, offering you textbooks, you're going to look on eBay and you're going to say, okay, maybe you're buying for 20 or 30% less than what they're selling for on eBay, or maybe you're calling up your campus bookstore and figuring out what they're going to pay people for that book, and you're going to pay them just slightly more than the campus bookstore. College students know they can get more money for their textbooks by selling them on eBay, but 90% will be too lazy to do this. And especially people who end up dropping out of a class. If they drop out of a class and they have all these textbooks and they're not going to be using them, they might be ready to just liquidate and take any cash offer you're going to give them on the spot. So what you're doing here is capitalizing on the laziness of fellow college students. And you could also put an ad up on Craigslist saying cash for textbooks, and that could be your method of advertising this business. Okay, idea number 2 is one that everyone's heard of, but I just want to restate this. If you are good at a certain subject in school, you can make a good amount of money as a paid tutor. Now, when I was in college, there was something called the LAC, the Learning Assistance Center, and people who had over a 90% in any particular class could register to sit at one of these tables and be a paid tutor in that subject. Now, the way that would work is you would be spending 3 hours a day in the morning in the Learning Assistance Center, but the college was paying you $10 an hour at that point in time to sit there. And the beauty of this was they were paying you whether or not people were actually sitting at the table. I had a couple of friends who did this, and they would literally just sit in the library for 3 hours, oftentimes without tutoring anybody, collecting $10 an hour. So that's not the best method to make money. You can obviously make money doing other things that we're going to mention, as well as the flipping textbooks idea. But in terms of the easiest way to make money, if your school does offer that kind of program, being a paid tutor can be a pretty good gig. And these days you can be a paid tutor without being face-to-face with somebody, just by using something like Skype or Zoom to be meeting with people. That way you don't have to be actively sitting with someone. You can be in your dorm room in your pajamas and making 15 or 20 bucks an hour as a paid tutor. Idea number 3 is to rent out graphing calculators. Now obviously this is a more business-oriented approach, and you are going to have some money to invest in this business. So if you have no money to start, maybe this is not the best idea for you. But if you are more business oriented or entrepreneurial like myself, this might be the perfect idea for you. So every single year when school starts, when college starts, people get a list of the items they need, and frequently on that list is the TI-83 or the TI-84 Texas Instruments graphing calculator. Now so many people go out there and buy these calculators, but there are services online where you can actually rent these graphing calculators on a month-by-month basis, and what you could do is do exactly that, but just on a much smaller scale. So what I'm talking about is going out there and buying maybe 5 to 10 graphing calculators, advertising around campus that you're renting them out, and then charge people every single month when they're holding on to that calculator. Now, how much money could you realistically make doing this? Let me go ahead and run you guys through an example looking at the numbers here. So we know a TI-84 Texas Instruments 84 calculator sells for about $100 online, but you could most likely rent that calculator out to a student for about $15 per month. I saw some sites online charging anywhere from $11 to $15. So let's say you can get $15 per month for that calculator, and somebody might not have the money to spend $100 on a calculator, or they're just going to need it for one class, and they would much rather pay you that $45 or $60 over that semester rather than paying $100 for a calculator that they're never going to use again. So let's say you decide to buy 10 calculators at $100 a piece, or a $1,000 investment, and you can rent out each one of those calculators for $15 per month. That means that if you were able to rent that calculator out every single month, all 10 of those calculators, which isn't quite realistic, but maybe you can rent it for 8 months out of the year. But if you rented it every single month out of the year, if you had all of them rented, you'd be making $150 per month. Now, over the course of 12 months, that is $1,800 from an investment of $1,000. So if you want to, you could rent the calculators out and collect your money, or you could reinvest it into this business to be making more money every single month going forward. In fact, if you had 10 graphing calculators rented out at $15 per piece and they cost you $100 each, that means every 2 months you can buy 3 more graphing calculators, and each of those 3 graphing calculators could potentially earn you another $15 per month. Maybe now you can see how this business could really grow and start to earn you a serious amount of money. Now, one important thing I would note is I would set up an automated billing service. Maybe you're going to use Square, maybe you're going to use Stripe. There's a number of different options out there. That way your customers are automatically billed, and you're also going to want them to sign some kind of contract that says if they damage the calculator, if they lose the calculator, they have to pay for the full $100 price of that calculator. But as far as advertising these services, you could do Facebook advertisements targeted around colleges. You could simply put up flyers around your college. You could go on Craigslist, or you could just rely on word of mouth and just tell people, hey, I'm renting out calculators, 15 bucks a month. Let me know if you are interested. But for people who are more business oriented, I think this is a very interesting idea for making money in college. Number 4, the fourth idea for making some money in college is to do exactly what you're seeing me do right now, and that is creating content for YouTube, or maybe it's having your own blog or your own podcast. Whatever it is, it's gathering attention online and making money with that audience. Now, as far as making money online, one of the best ways to do that is with an educational YouTube channel. And while I'm a full-time YouTuber, I know a number of people, they're friends of mine, that are college students that are doing this part-time. So one of these people is Nate O'Brien. He's a friend of mine and a friend of the channel. He has about 50,000 subscribers, and he's currently in college and he does YouTube videos on the side. So we're going to take a peek at Social Blade just to get a rough estimate of how much Nate is making from this YouTube channel he's running on the side while he's in college. So in November of 2018, Nate had a little over 400,000 views on his channel, and according to Social Blade's estimate, which I'm going to tell you for this niche is extremely low, they're saying that Nate made anywhere from 100 to 1.7K that month, $1,700, and my guess it's going to be much higher than that 1.7K mark because of the profitability of the investing and personal finance niche. But this is somebody who's making a couple videos a week, they're in college, and rather than getting a part-time job, they built up a YouTube channel and now they're earning passive income from YouTube. So rather than going out there and making 12 or 13 bucks an hour, you could invest your time into building a following online, and this could be something that pays you for many years going forward. I mean, myself included here, I started this YouTube channel as a hobby, and now this is my full-time income source. So there's a lot of money to be potentially made on YouTube. And then fifth and finally, my fifth idea here for making money in college is to become a public notary. Now, this is something a lot of people don't think about because you have to go through a notary test, you have to pay for the exam, and you have to pay for some supplies. But if you're willing to make that small investment in your business, you could make decent money being a public notary, because when you're on a college campus, you have all kinds of people around you, and these are people who are transitioning from the teenage life to the adult life, and as part of that, a lot of these people are going to need documents notarized. So let's say, for example, you're one of the only people on campus with your notary license, your services are going to be in very high demand. So if you go through that whole process, you get your stamp, you get your license, you could be a public notary, advertise your services on campus, and make money. Now, as far as how much you can charge, there are set limitations online, and I believe it differs on a state-by-state basis. So obviously you guys have to do more research above and beyond that if you're really going to take these ideas and act upon them. But most people I see charging around $20 to $50 for a notary service. And if you're on a college campus, you don't really have to go that far. You could have somebody meet you at the library, notarize a document, and collect a quick 20 bucks. But again, make sure you guys do some more research on these ideas and figure out what the requirements are in each state. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Those are my 5 favorite ways to make money in college outside of just getting a part-time job. I'm curious what you guys think about these ideas. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Have you tried any yourself? And if you're somebody who's currently in college making money, or you had a creative way to make money in college, I'd love to hear what that was down in the comment section below. So feel free to drop me a comment. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.